This is the Spotlight review on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Retro-Morphing Power Ranger action figures. We have Jason, Kimberly, Zack, and Billy, which is our first wave of this nostalgia-filling retro series that Hasbro's producing for kids and adult collectors, so don't be confused, it can be either way. But before we take a look at the figures, we're going to take a look at their packaging to kick things off here. And it harkens back to the Generation 1. What is this, Transformers? Sorry, I guess you could say G1. That's where it all began with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was the first generation, the first incarnation of Power Rangers in America under Saban. But now this is Hasbro. We have the ages 4 and plus. We have the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo, which is not what they used in the show, but what the toy lines consisted of back then. We have the character, or the figure of said character, which is showing off the auto-morph feature here, which is pretty cool. And then we've got Hasbro down here at the bottom left, or sorry, bottom right corner. Anyway, Retro-Morphin Power Rangers. Here's Zack. That's pretty much it. There's not that much to really show off here. Here's a look at the back, and they're pretty much identical to each other, so we'll get rid of that. And here's Kimberly. You can tell because it's Kimberly, and it also says Kimberly on the back. We have Kimberly here, which is, they're all one and the same. It's still the Red Ranger, just done with a different color scheme here. Kind of hard to see for the Pink Ranger. It does look like a very light red, but it is actually pink. So yeah, there you go. Here's Jason. I'm just pulling them at random here. Here's the back. As you can see, this is a darker red, and I will show you real quickly if I can get them both on here. See? A lighter red, which is really pink, and a dark red, which is red. And there you go. Finally, Billy. On the back, Billy. Well, Jason in blue. Yay. And that's it. We're done with the packaging. I mean, there isn't much else to show off. Here are the figures. And like I said, it's pretty much nostalgia. It's the Auto-morphing Rangers done for a modern take for today's generation of kids and adult collectors. They look good. They're all identical. Same body, buck, mold, whatever you want to say. All still male proportions, especially the Pink Ranger, which is kind of bump. But what are you gonna do? It's nostalgia. It hits the heart. It hits it good. It just feels good owning these figures. It's a callback to my childhood and your childhood, and you shouldn't be disappointed with these. And to show off a quick side-by-side comparisons here, here's the original Auto-morphing Jason compared to our Retro-morphing Jason here. Key differences, we'll go through it real quickly so we don't make this a long video. The diamonds obviously on the chest, the power symbol or the power coin design for all the Rangers, which would be on the original, is no longer present. The morpher has gone through a running change as well. We have this nice detail here, which is not accurate to the actual morpher on the show, compared to the one that is accurate to the morpher on the show, except it's a lot flatter, and that's the reason being is because of the new design gimmick for the auto-morph feature, which we'll get to very shortly. Holsters are different. Very nice rubber material used for the new ones. Very forgiving, very flexible. This is pretty solid and could run the risk of breaking if you try to move it. You can also see that we have colored elbows now. No pins anymore. Also, no plastic pins sticking out. They're using that seamless design like on some of the Marvel Legend figures these days. That's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so anyway, that's about it for the front. I mean, you can see the heads are pretty identical, except the visor on the original was a little wider and this one's a little squintier, but I kind of like that. It gives it an attitude look. Looks really good. On the back, the real difference here is that there are diamonds that are actually sculpted and painted on in comparisons to the original, which is not present and never was. Also, something that wasn't present is actually, if you look, we have no pinstriping, but the detail is there for if you want to go back with a black pin, you can. We do have the stripes sculpted onto the belt itself. Compared to the original, not present. I'm really liking this so far. I really am. And that's about it. I mean, there really isn't much else to really show off here between these two. So, what do you say we go about the the gimmick, which is the whole entire thing. So there you go. This is the original and how it works. You have to flip the head back and lock it into place, and then you press the power morpher down, and then of course, as I failed, but you can see he morphs into the Red Ranger. In order to reset it, hold down, flip it back, lock it back into place, and hours of play, right? This is so much easier. This is kind of like the Auto-morphing Zeo figures in the past. The actual morpher is no longer the activator button. It's actually on the back here with this, I gotta admit, an eyesore of a tab, but it is what it is, and it's easier to catch. So you can see that's how it works. But if you press down really hard, then the feature really works. So if you want him to be Jason, he can be Jason. If you want him to be the Red Ranger, press again. There you go. And it's ongoing. And sometimes it does get stuck. And there are times on the other figures, it's never really happened to Jason, but the other figures can get stuck in the middle, something like that. Now, I shouldn't do that because I could break the spring. But anyway, there you go. There's Jason. Good side-by-side comparisons with the original, which does look like Jason. Wrong hair color though, compared to a more cartoony looking Jason, which I'm fine with. He's got the right hair color. The eyes aren't looking straight. They're actually painted to the side. He's looking to the right a little bit, which is fine. It gives him a nice expression. It brings life to the figure rather than being straightforward. But anyway, that's fine. So there you go. That's Jason. Now for the articulation, which I'll bring the original back in real quickly. Flipping back to a Ranger, we have, of course, your shoulders. You've got your swivel above the elbow. You got single jointed elbows with 9 degrees of play. And that's pretty much it for the top. To the legs, we've got just a swivel going up and down. That's it. We got a knee joint, 9 degrees bend. And that's pretty much all the articulation you have here, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. Or what it was, right? So now what's different with this figure? Well, we have the same amount of articulation going on with the arms, which, you know, you really can't complain. You still get your 9 degrees of bend, and that's about it. But the real key difference is down here at the hips, where you get your kicking forward and you get nothing going back. You actually do have a full JCVD split. It's impressive in this day and age. And then of course we got a rotation here at the knee joint, and the knees can get a little less than 9 degrees of bend, only because there's not much of a cut back here to allow a full bend. But still, more poseability is offered in these new modern figures compared to the vintage auto-morphing figures. A little difficult to stand up because there's no ankle rocker movement, but they were really trying to keep it nostalgia, okay? So stop complaining about it. But there you go. I mean, that's about it. We'll go through his accessories real quickly. Seeing the original. Okay, so here we have the original Blade Blaster and Power Sword. You can see by obviously the color difference being this is silver. But really, it's the holes here. It's the only real difference that you would spot right away, because there are pegs in the hands of the original figures because they're made of a harder plastic, which allows them to keep their weapons in their hands in the only way. So if those pegs break off, well, you're screwed. In comparison to a modern take on these retro-morphing Rangers, they're pretty much identical. Here is the Blade Blaster. The only real difference is that there is no hole. That's because the plastic that's being used for these figures is a much forgivable material. It does allow movement. It's made out of a softer plastic, which allows him to grip it very securely, very snug in his hands, and you can still remove it and put it back in the holster if you want. Also, we'll look at the Blade Blaster now. Sorry, Power Sword. And the Power Sword is a softer material as well. Compared to the original, this is done in silver, this is done in a light gray, but the real key difference is that there is no hole, which means you get all this nice texture down here at the handle of the sword. So there's no breakup in that, which is very nice. Put it back in his hands and he can hold it very good. I like it. Very nice figure. So we'll go ahead and put him back now. And now the rest of these should be very easy to go through real quickly because they're identical. Everything about them is identical except for the color palette and a few selections here with the Ranger helmet, the civilian head underneath, and then of course the signature weapon. Here's Zack. Zack looks good. There's his power morpher. It's got the Mastodon with Power Rangers right there. Nice. Everything that's on the Red Ranger is pretty much on the Black Ranger here. He's still got the Blade Blaster in his gun mode. Here is his Power Axe. Nicely sculpted. Looks great. I like it. It's got the Mastodon coin on both sides. They didn't skip a beat there. The only thing is, it's always in Axe mode. You can never bring this piece down. It is all one single piece of plastic. So when you put it in the Power Blaster mode, it kind of does look awkward since it's there, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, let's see Zack now, shall we? After we look at his helmet real quickly. Very nice. Now, Zack, here you go. Yeah, so you can't really pick your battles, unfortunately. You can grab your Rangers straight off the pegs at your local Walmart store, but you can't see the civilian heads underneath, so sometimes it's a gamble. You get a good one, and then sometimes you get a bad one. So you can see Zack here, his eye is misplaced. It's not painted in the right placement. This one's too close to his nose, and this one's spread out too far, but what are you gonna do? It's fine. As it is compared to the original, the sculpting is really not a night and day comparison because I really can't tell the difference to tell you guys the truth. And that's about it. Flipping back. There we go. Done with Zack. Let's bring in Billy. Here's Billy. Billy looks good. Helmet looks great. Nice paint work. Man, they really didn't skip a beat there. Here's his morpher. You can see Power Rangers, Triceratops coin, all around. Good look at the diamonds and everything that's nicely painted. Here's the Power Lance. We'll remove it real quickly. Of course they're going to fall over very easily. This is a very smooth surface. What are you going to do, right? So anyway, we got the Triceratops coin on all sides of the lance. On all sides. Kind of hard to see. I know I can't get my camera to focus in on it because it's such a light material, but it still can unpeg. And you can slap it underneath the power bow. Maybe we'll get the power daggers later on with a Yellow Ranger release, maybe. But they do hold in very securely via the peg, so you don't have to worry about them popping off so easily. And it does grip it very nicely. Once again, Blade Blaster right there in the holster. Let's go ahead and morph him or unmorph him. And you can see Billy's likeness is pretty good. Probably one of the better ones out of this wave. And the fact that he does have sculpted glasses here makes it difficult to get his eyes painted underneath, but they pulled it off. I'm surprised. That looks really good. It's one of the best to come out of this and definitely does look like David Yost, or should I say Billy. There we go. So that's Billy. Finally, Kimberly. Here is Kimberly. Kimberly in all of her beautiful glory. A nice figure for what it is, minus the super glue that you may see there. Okay, that's me. I'll talk about it in just a moment. But anyway, here we go. There's the Power Morpher with Power Rangers Pterodactyl coin. Here's her power bow, which we'll get to in just a moment. I just want to show you completely all around. Looks great. So it's the sculpting of the helmet. The green eyes on the helmet for the pterodactyl are missing, but it's something you could probably add if you want. Pretty cheap. Less than $10 action figures. There's the Blade Blaster. We'll pull out her power bow here, and this is going to be difficult to actually see here because everything is so white. It's just being washed out. Too much white, but there is some detail here. Kind of hard to see, but it's there. There are the clips for the Power Lance. And eventually, hopefully, we will get the power daggers with the Yellow Ranger. So we'll go ahead and slap this back in her hands here, like so. And we will unmorph her. Unmorph. Unmorph. There we go. Oh, God. Yeah, this is another one that they really skipped on when it comes to trying to make it look really good. The hair color is too bright in my opinion. There is flesh tones sticking out on the sides of her hair. It's not fully painted. She's looking to the right as well, just like Jason a little bit. Yeah, it is what it is. It's fine. And I'll just morph it back now. And that is it. That is your Retro-Morphin Power Ranger figures. I'm not going to show off the combination. If you've seen the original, you know how it works with all the signature weapons coming together. That's the Power Blaster. Plus, without the Yellow Ranger, it just ain't fair. Okay, and you could just check out somebody else's video if you want to see it that badly. Or you could just wait until we do get the Yellow Ranger, and I'll come back to this and show you everything this line has to offer, except for one thing that will be the key difference between my figures and any other reviewer you see on YouTube. And I'm going to make this real quick because I'm running out of time on my camera, and that is I did a little modifying. So it's going back to the super glue around the Pink Ranger's helmet, but I have added additional articulation, which unfortunately these figures do not offer to begin with. I don't understand why Hasbro didn't go that route, because this really doesn't interrupt the morph gimmick, as you can see. But yeah, my Rangers can turn their heads, so they have more life to them when posing them in different options. Same with Billy here. Same with Zack. A little tight, but that's okay. And now Pink Ranger, we're back. I went over my time limit on my recorder, so I'm going to make this quick now because now the battery will die soon. You can see there's super glue all around. If I didn't make that clear at first when I went for this figure. Yeah, unfortunately when it came to her, she was my second figure I was working on before I got the Zack and Billy, and unfortunately I was rushing it and I snapped the peg inside that where the screw hole is and the screw goes into. So I tried to glue it back together and I failed miserably because my glue is old and I should have replaced it before attempting this, but I didn't want to make the drive to my local Walmart store. I was lazy. And it pays off. It definitely does show, unfortunately. Good news is I was able to acquire another one, so I get a second attempt to try at this because I haven't done it to her yet. But another good thing is that this one has a better head sculpt. Well, not the sculpt, but the paint job is much better. Not perfect, you can tell by the eyes, but still, she's actually looking straight ahead. This side of her hair is actually fully painted. This side, they missed just a little bit there. You can still see the flesh tone, but other than that, I'm pretty impressed with this one. This one, just for some reason, just those additional parts actually makes her look a little more like Amy Jo Johnson. I can definitely see her. I only wish that they really went the route of these computerized prototypes here. I really wish they would have gone with those head sculpts if they could have found a way. Maybe it just didn't mold out as they were planning. Maybe the render just wasn't capable. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. I do have future plans to try again on her. But for what it is, as a placeholder right now, it works just fine. It's fine. It's okay. But if you want to see me actually go through the construction of this and show you on how I pulled it off, I might be willing. I guess it all depends if you guys really want to see it. Just let me know down below in the comment section of the video if I feel like I got enough approval. If you guys say yes, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? Maybe I can do a separate video, but I might have to do some jump cuts because there are certain parts of the sanding down process that I need to keep an eye on. I need to put more focus on that than actually behind the camera. I need to get up close in your face with the figure. But yeah, again, that's for another time. Anyway, I'm just bringing some placeholders here because we don't have a full team, but I'll just show that off just because. There you go. So yeah, you can see that there's quite a difference in the decades later because they're bulky for what they are, but they're definitely slim compared to our new bulky and much beefier Power Rangers that we got here from Hasbro. So yeah, Bandai America, Hasbro, Bandai America, Hasbro, quite a difference. One more size comparisons real quickly. Here is the Dribble Mole monster from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Bandai America, so you can get a good look. It's not really going to work, is it? I mean, he is a lot shorter. He works great with the Auto-morphing, but he's a lot shorter than the Retro-Morphin, so this is a puny monster now. Oh well, it is what it is. But that's gonna do it, guys. That's gonna wrap things up here. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. I recommend them if you can find them. If you definitely have that touch of nostalgia, you want these in your collection, more power to you. By all means, pick them up. They are worth it. I don't care what anybody else has said. This is my opinion here. They have a reason to exist, and that reason to exist is to be a part of my collection and yours if you want them. Other than that, questions or comments, you know the do, hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you like today's spotlight review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until then, this is Red is Power signing off, saying fare thee well, so long, goodbye, and get out. I'll see you next time.